me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kevin.
And I am John.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look back at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Now, you may know this, but Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, the action genre we're talking about here. And we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies, and we're breaking them all the way down.
Feeling?
Hey, my friend, I'm a little bit wine drawn at this point.
You're wine drunk.
I am. Like, I'm just, I'm feeling it. I'm a little bit stressed about this movie. Like, I don't even know how it's going to end at this point.
I think you're more stressed about trying to recap the plot.
I am. I'll give it a shot, though. All right, so in the last installment, friends who have been with us.
Did we say this is the Rock, by the way? Our final chapter.
We should tell you what we're even doing. First of all, happy 2021. We should be about 6-7 weeks in at this point.
February. Happy Valentine's Day.
You should still be staying at home with your masks on.
You better be listening to this with a mask on.
That's right. Just suited up and enjoying life at this point.
If you're not wearing a full outbreak suit, turn this off.
Oh, this is actually the perfect movie for you because it's about a pandemic or potential spread thereof. Yeah. We're doing The Rock, and in this movie, in the last chapter, we're talking about, of course, the plot where a ostensibly crazy general has gotten some men together, taken a bunch of people hostage, stolen a bunch of chemical weapons, and is holding the world hostage. The United States government has secretly sent in a bunch of Navy SEALs along with a chemical weapons expert and a former guest on The Rock, Alcatraz, played by Sean Connery. Everyone gets killed in a standoff except for Nick Cage, the weapons expert, and Sean Connery. And so the whole last episode was Nick Cage trying to convince Sean Connery to please be on my team.
That's right.
Convincing him, disarming a bunch of rockets.
All but 3.
The United States government deciding, hey, we're going to bomb Alcatraz with some experimental nuclear shit. And General Hummel, played by Ed Harris, and his men taking Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage hostage.
Well,
again.
Cage managed to disarm one more.
That's right.
So
one more rocket.
There's 2 left.
2 left. They're in jail. They just managed to get out at the beginning or at the end of the last episode, and that's where we are now.
Yeah, they're on the loose again. There's 2 rockets to go. There's like less than an hour until the deadline. And we're ready to get into it.
Oh my God, Chapter 5. Can you even believe it?
This isn't the penultimate chapter.
No,
this is the ultimate chapter.
We've skipped right over Pent and gone into Ultimate. So, at the end of the last episode, Mason and Goodspeed have gotten out of their cages thanks to Mason's patented mattress rope, like fabric thing with a wheel attached to it, sling it over a thing.
If it was good enough to work in 63, it's good enough to work now.
Trade secrets, my son. So elsewhere, the bad guys are trying to decide what to do with their last 2 rockets if the government won't play nice. So the newcomers, led by Fry and Darrow especially, Fry is just he will not shut up about what time it is.
The rockets are ready to fly, sir.
It is 2 o'clock in the afternoon, sir. The rock's ready to fly. We're ready to go. We're cocked back and ready to rock. It's like
the way he's like lying on the cot,
like
is
his
also
foot's
just weird.
bouncing around.
He's wired or something.
He seems like he's on coke.
I think I used to watch this show and think, oh, this guy got shot at some point because he's kind of lying there like he's a wounded man, but he's not wounded. He's just, I don't know what. He's
just kind of an asshole.
He's just made a performance choice to lie on the cot in an awkward position.
Yeah. Outside, Mason looks to be leaving again, and Stanley, Goodspeed's trying to convince him to change his mind again.
Yeah.
Mason says, Hummel won't launch the rocket. She's a soldier, not a murderer.
I do love that.
Yeah.
That he got a read on him, like in their brief conversation. Like he understands that in that moment that Hummel doesn't have the stomach to do this.
I like it too. I like it a lot. Back to the bad guy arguments. Captain Darrow, played by Candyman, thinks that they should launch one of the rockets if the deadline passes in 3 minutes.
That's right. We should shoot one of our rockets up their ass or something like that.
Sir. He's always very clear. Sir.
It is strange. It's strange. It's a faux deference.
Right. He's super intense, too. Like, both of those guys, Fry and Darrow, are both super intense.
Because, I mean, the deadline is 3 short minutes away.
You and I would be shitting myself. And you. I'd be shitting you. So the phone rings, and everyone looks very excited, like Santa's just called. It's General Kramer saying, hey, bud, how's everything going? We need another hour.
That's like the standard movie, like, I need to buy some time excuse.
That's like Trump saying, Trump saying, we need 2 more weeks.
It's like, we've had some trouble with the transfer. We're waiting on the final authorization from the president.
We need 2 more weeks.
That shit makes sense when it's like at the city level.
Yeah.
But when it's the president, there's no trouble with the wire transfer. There's no like, we're just waiting on that final authorization.
Someone got the numbers wrong.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. So Hummel says, no. We're good. You have 3 minutes, and then hangs up. Darrow and Fry and even Major Tom Baxter seem to agree that, hey, if we're going to do this, we should go ahead and launch.
They're calling our bluff, sir. They are playing you for a fool, sir.
Yeah, just deferential.
And then Fry, come on, General, let's be all we can be.
Which is not a Marine. But
it was the Army slogan at the time.
Yeah, it's like not a Marine slogan. Fine,
it's
whatever.
It's still a creepy line.
Yeah, they're both crazy. They're both fucking crazy. But Hummel, it's like, gives that steely, blue-eyed nod and affirmation.
We're
like, fine, yeah. So back outside, Goodspeed's telling Mason that the mission is not complete. Mason says, once it is, it doesn't matter. I'm going back to jail or I'm dead.
Yeah.
So Goodspeed grabs Mason.
They're both right.
Yeah, they both are, definitely.
They both are 100% correct.
Caught between a rock and a hard case again. Mason punches Goodspeed in the gut. Poor Stanley says, like, fine, fuck it, I'll just do it myself. And I like this jogging off in different directions because as soon as they start jogging, as soon as you see Mason jogging, the look on Mason's face changes. And it's like you get the feeling that Mason's up to something, that the split up is on purpose.
Really?
Yeah.
You got that? I thought at that moment he was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Trying to watch it again with fresh eyes, it was almost as if he thought that they had a better chance of accomplishing the mission if they split up at this point.
Interesting.
Because they wouldn't be going in together. His goal at this point was to shadow Stanley so that whatever ill befell Stanley, he could
save
help
him?
Yes.
Okay.
I like that. That's the whole point, that he was just trying to throw Stanley off because he knew that Stanley would try to follow him around, and he didn't want to be in the same place if Stanley got jumped.
It's good that he did this because, like, Goodspeed was spotted by a bad guy
immediately.
I mean, immediately.
Like, he'd run 10, 15 feet. So, yeah, Stanley, like, gets spotted immediately by some miscellaneous goon that we've never seen because, of course, we've never even seen this guy.
No, I have a good feeling that he's not gonna be the end of Goodspeed.
So I like that Goodspeed's like, do you want up in paper or plastic or glass or plastic? Glass or plastic. Yeah, like asking him to, like, which vessel do you want to end up in, which is great. But the guy's not like, I don't have time to argue this point.
Did you detect anything strange in this scene about Cage's performance?
Just that it felt like some other lines where it was like, he said, give me a chance to rattle off these lines that I've come up with.
Okay. Because that scene, the glass or plastic bit, had just been written like moments before, and he was reading his lines off a cue card. And he like said that Bruckheimer, he felt like Bruckheimer was telling him, "We can tell you're reading off a cue card." But I never got that impression. And watching it, even looking for that, I didn't. He's looking all over the place, but I never got the impression that he was like reading.
I didn't get the impression that he was reading, but I did get the impression that someone. It felt like Saturday Night Live, where they were like, "These are your lines, and you have to say them." And it was like it didn't feel like, even for Stanley, it didn't feel like lines that he would be like trying to confuse the guy with.
It's like he's trying to talk this guy into changing sides and helping him.
But that's not the way to do it. Appeal to the guy's humanity, not appeal to the guy's
come on, like I
can
can
end up in a
defuse this
container.
thing. We don't have to kill all these people.
Yeah. It seemed very awkward to me. Of all the lines, even more awkward than the lines that are coming up. This seemed more awkward than that. Anyway, at this moment, Mason sneaks up and breaks the guy's neck, gives the guy's rifle to Goodspeed. Mason says that I couldn't bear to let your child grow up without a father.
He taps that rifle down on his shoulder. I don't think he knows that it's Mason behind him. I think that once he feels the rifle on his shoulder, he knows.
It's
Mason?
Yeah.
I thought in my mind, in my perception was that he thinks he's changed that bad guy's mind. Like, I don't think he heard the commotion of the guy getting his neck snapped and falling
Probably
down.
not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. But he just seems like everything like just goes from bit to bit.
Mason I do love this bit.
Yeah,
with Mason.
Same. Yeah, he says I couldn't bear to think about your child growing up without a father, and I doubt that I could swim to shore. So
to me, Mason, like the idea that he has a child who grew up without a father.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he knows the damage that seems to have done, and he doesn't want to see that happen to another child or another dad. Like there's a lot to it, more so than is on the surface just when you're watching.
And if you're as in tune to the music in movies as we are, it's at this moment that the Mason redemption theme plays again.
The flute song?
Oh, it plays in the French horns in the orchestra.
Oh, okay.
Same theme again.
I think it's the Mason is a good guy.
Yeah, it's theme. The Mason like trying to redeem himself theme from stealing the microfiche.
I will.
So up on the roof. So up on the roof, the rocket is ready to fire. Sergeant Crisp is having second thoughts. She's like, "Oh man, this isn't. If we're gonna like what?" But Captain Fry says, "We
haven't talked much about Crisp."
Yeah, Crisp is.
He seems to be maybe the fourth in command of Hummel's original team.
Right.
And all of Hummel's guys seem like good guys.
Right. They are Marines.
McGinley, that's David Morse.
Yeah.
And this guy, Chris, was played by Bokeem Woodbine.
Who's awesome.
He brings like a decency to the part where he's like killing Navy SEALs is one thing, but are we really going to do this? Like, he doesn't want to see this happen.
Exactly.
He's got a soul and a conscience.
But Captain Fry, in his crazy way, looks over and says, "This is just business."
Yeah.
If you hadn't seen the movie before, you think that a Crisp is definitely about to die, just because of this exchange. The bad guys enter the launch coordinates and wait for Hummel's word. We see some B-roll.
There's a very pregnant pause.
Yeah, we see some B-roll of San Francisco.
Like daily life in the city
people going about their business, and it's like, oh, man, this is sad. So at the control board, after this very pregnant pause, Hummel finally gives the command to fire. Goodspeed and the guys back at the FBI command base all start to panic. Everyone's like jumping up and looking out of windows to see where the rocket's going to fire.
Wherever Goodspeed and Mason were, they must have been able to hear the launch because Goodspeed leaps up and is looking out a window and sees a rocket flying off.
Right. So Hummel begins then typing on his terminal as the rocket appears headed to hit a stadium full of football fans who we hear from Paxton. They're in Oakland.
Which I was like looking at
the Raiders?
So they're saying Oakland. The map that they're looking at, the radar map or whatever, shows the location as being like where the Oakland Coliseum is, where the Raiders would play. But that's definitely Candlestick Park, which is where the Niners played back then.
Right.
So I don't know. And one of the people at FBI command says it's heading towards Elmwood, which is where Berkeley is.
Okay.
So I don't know if there was just confusion among the writing of how this would be done. But it's definitely Candlestick Park is the stadium we see.
They couldn't decide who they wanted to die.
Yeah. What's weird also is it seems as though everyone's able to see what's happening, but I mean, Candlestick or Oakland are miles and miles
you would
and
not,
miles
You
away
would
from
not be able to
Alcatraz.
see from Alcatraz on any given day.
It'd be out of sight in a few seconds.
Where
the rocket.
anything was flying. Yeah.
No,
not at all.
Oakland is like, as the crow flies, is probably 5 miles from Alcatraz.
And you still wouldn't see where a rocket was going.
Yeah, disappear. By the time it was a half a mile away, you wouldn't see it anymore.
Correct.
Okay,
so
we're on the same page there.
No, we definitely are. So at the last second, as the rocket changes course, heading out to sea, we see it splashing harmlessly into the ocean and detonating, which we guess means no loss of like marine life or anything. Like if it's in the ocean, it's like
if they said it kill everything in an 8-block radius or whatever like that, then there's nothing
like,
in a
only
radius.
If, like aerosol, yeah.
So also the radar guy had said like it's heading out to sea, but based on the radar that he's looking at, it was going to crash somewhere like the middle of the San Francisco Bay, like sort of between Oakland and San Francisco, which is still like 8 miles across.
Yeah.
So I think it's still far enough away from people to see, but it is odd then that like Captain Fry and these others seem to have been able to see what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I also want to know what VX gas does to
the water, sea life.
Yeah.
It fucks some shit up, I'm sure, right?
It has to.
Kill everything that was living in the nearby area. Is
it like an oil spill, you know?
Do you have to like safely get out there and clean it up?
Yeah, or just wait for it to dissipate.
Yeah,
I don't know. So we get that Hummel has aborted this attack.
Yeah.
Goodspeed and everyone else.
Is like, they missed. How the fuck could he possibly know that?
But then Mason's like, great. And then Goodspeed's like, yeah, but we still got one more.
It's very great. But I'm just like, how could Goodspeed doesn't know if it hit or missed from looking out the window? It's like miles and miles and miles away.
We just have to assume he's good at geography.
I don't know.
Well, my thing is that he didn't see an explosion.
But it wouldn't be like a mushroom cloud, right? It'd be,
I think you'd see any. You would hear an explosion.
Maybe you'd hear an explosion for a few miles in any direction. I'll go with that.
And you didn't hear anything.
You didn't hear anything, then they must have missed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We're gonna assume that he either saw it or heard it.
Yeah. He's much smarter than I am.
He's a doctor, for God's sake.
For God's sake. Yeah, he's relieved, but there's one rocket left. We cut back to the bad guys. Captain Darrow, Candyman, is confused and angry.
What the fuck happened? What's going on?
What? He's just super pissed. Major Tom says, hey, bud, why don't you step outside so I can talk to my homeboy Hummel?
Baxter clearly knows what's going on, right?
Okay. He's like, shit's coming unwound.
Do you think, like, were he and Hummel, like, best buds?
Yeah.
Like, friends for decades?
Best buds for 35 years.
Okay. They've been through the shit together.
They've served with each other since Vietnam. So back at FBI command, Paxton wants to get the Pentagon on the phone because shit just got real. Back on the Rock, Goodspeed and Mason enter the building looking for the last rocket, where Mason finds another rifle, and it's at this point that they start sort of like overhearing the argument between Hummel and his men.
Yeah.
We hear that Baxter knows that Hummel aborted the rocket attack, and he calls him out. Hummel says...
He calls him like, you're being insubordinate.
Yeah,
he
said, if you're going to be insubordinate, you could be like good-natured about it or something like that. It's like, come on,
like,
guy.
Are we still like... I think the chain of command is out the window with launching rockets at civilians.
At this point, it's like even after you've kidnapped people, the chain of command is like suspect. So Hummel says he's not prepared to kill civilians. Baxter suggests extending the deadline and then says, hey, I'm going to do it myself.
Right, he picks up the sat phone
he
or whatever.
Picks it up to call, but Hummel then like forces him to hang up at gunpoint. I love the writing here of Hummel asking Baxter thrice.
Yeah.
Sort of evoking some biblical imagery.
Oh, shit.
Jesus talking to Simon Peter.
Yeah.
As a friend, then a superior officer, then as a man with a loaded gun, like asking him three times, and then Baxter's still like,
I was also thinking, like, is this the first like little Tarantino sort of standoff?
I think it is.
Touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely some biblical imagery there. So then we cut to the White House, and you called this out because I'd never even really thought about it because I was always just so focused on the imagery. But like the president, who is this just like dumpy sort of dude, just starts making a long-winded speech to no one in particular.
Chief of Staff Sinclair is there and no one else. And he's like, this is the toughest decision I've ever had to make.
100 million civilians against 81 hostages.
On and on.
He says it's the worst call I'll ever have to make, but I'm still going to authorize this.
He acknowledges the wrongness of what the U.S. Government has done, it seems.
So why not pay the money?
You don't want to be doing it at the behest of a terrorist, but at the same time, he recognizes that what they did was wrong.
I don't know why he wouldn't at that point say some wrongdoing has been done. Come in, let's have hearings.
Let's talk about it.
Instead of saying we can't offer you the money, but we're willing to have hearings.
We're willing to acknowledge that we done wrong. We want to make it right.
We want the American government to acknowledge and have hearings.
I think Hummel would have gone with that.
He would have, for sure.
Now,
but this guy's like, fuck it.
Darrow
let's
and Fry want that money, so they might not have liked
fucking money.
Yeah, they could have even gone that route and had Darrow and Fry be like, fuck that, we're here to get paid, dude.
I want my money.
It's also during the president's speech that we get our first glimpse of Jim Caviezel as one of the Air Force pilots, a young
His name is Jesus.
A young Jesus. That same actor played the president in Armageddon.
Oh, interesting.
Apparently. I wondered if does that make it a shared universe?
Yes.
This happened in the same world as Armageddon?
Tough year for that guy. Tough year for president, whatever his name
scandals. Is. Well, he got reelected, apparently.
Praise God. Yeah, we see Carla, Paxton, others at the FBI Mobile Command, like, no one's happy about this after the president's like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's just nuke the shit.
I get that dropping the bombs might be like the right thing to do, the right call in this moment, but they're way past the deadline. Like, we're 3 minutes away or past the 3 minutes probably by now.
Right.
Like, that they're just now making the decision to bomb the island. Shouldn't that decision have been made a while ago? Like, if they were serious about launching the rockets, they would have been launched before your jets get there to wipe the island out.
Right.
That's all I had to say about that. Is we know that thermite plasma was ready to go with 50 minutes to the deadline, and now the deadline has elapsed, and they're just now making the call to launch the jets.
Yeah, I think that I don't know if like Hummel was anticipating the fact that it was like, well, we're gonna have some laps on one side, so like, I mean, obviously he never had any intent to do it.
That's true.
But
I just think the decision to drop the bomb should have been made hours ago.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
If we're doing it, we're doing it.
Yep, I totally agree with you. So it's at this point that all of Hummel's men are like, hey, what's up, bro?
What the fuck is going on?
This ain't cool. So Hummel confirms, hey, I blew off the attack. That ain't no big deal.
This was great, this moment with Chris.
Yeah, Chris said, that makes us look gutless, though. Fry correctly surmises that now they're going to come at us with everything they've got.
Now that they don't think we're going to do it?
Yeah, because we've been emasculated.
Yeah.
Baxter says that the authorities can't be sure that we've missed on purpose. Baxter, Major Tom.
Yeah.
But then Fry also correctly says, like, well, that makes us look stupid.
That makes us, then we're not gutless, we're incompetent.
Yeah, so like Hummel says, hey, we've planned for this contingency. We're going to load the last of the gas onto a chopper with 4 hostages, and you guys get the fuck out of here, and I'm going to take the fall for whatever comes after.
So it seems to me this was always like Hummel's last resort plan, but did the other guys know about it before this moment?
My question then is that would he have been able to get everyone on board with this plan?
I think he thought the chain of command is going to hold and they're going to follow my orders. If I tell them we're boarding the plane and get on this helicopter and leave, then that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But Darrow and Fry have other plans.
Well, they're fucking crazy as shit. Darrow says, hey.
What about the money?
No. What about the fucking money? Hummel says, there is no fucking money. And people just continue to say fucking money for about 3 minutes.
He's like, the mission is over.
The mission's over. Fry and Darrow bucket this. Baxter reminds him that they're soldiers under orders. Darrow correctly points out that they're not soldiers anymore in this situation.
I like
they're
that.
mercenaries. And he wants his fucking money.
And mercenaries get paid.
I want my fucking money. Everyone's like, no one can stop saying fucking money.
That's exactly right, though.
No, it is.
It's like, I didn't break my oath to the military to not get paid.
Correct. I love this, though. This is where Hummel lays out his true colors for everyone to see.
Yes, I love it.
He says, I'm not about to kill 80,000 innocent people. I like that he clarifies that he's not, in fact, out of his mind.
Yeah,
and he would never, he would have never killed innocent people. We bluffed. They called it. The mission's over.
Yeah.
But then Fry, crazy face, says, whoever said anything about bluffing, General?
That is the danger of you create like a fucking army of psychos behind you, and then you lose control of them.
Yeah, Hummel's like, hey, bud, stand down. Mason and Goodspeed.
Stand down, Captain!
Yeah,
I love that delivery.
Oh, it's awesome. He's like, fucking get back. Hummel orders Baxter to take them in and evacuate, but Baxter's like, hey, nah. Darrow then
it's not that simple, sir.
Then Darrow says, hey, Crisp, lock Hummel up. I'm going to take command. And then there's like a whole thing. Like
the tension that's building in this scene is great with the music and
it's amazing.
Like, close-ups and all that.
Crisp says, give me your sidearm, and Hummel pulls his like this sidearm and like pulls his gun out, and it's a full-blown Mexican standoff. You don't know which way it's going to go, but it's at that moment that Baxter, who at this point has been Hummel's right-hand man the whole time, pulls his gun, feigns like he's siding with Darrow, and says,
but like he said.
Yeah, but like he said,
it's over.
The mission's over. And then he shoots Darrow in the shoulder. What I want to know is, like, he's point-blank range. You couldn't shoot Darrow in the face?
You needed the headshot, man.
God damn. Anyway.
It's still pretty badass,
he shoots Darrow in the shoulder. A shootout pops off.
I love that in the end, like, Baxter is loyal to Hummel. He's a good Marine. Like, he's like...
He was his ride or die.
Yeah, for life. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
It makes me very sad to see David Morse go at this moment.
Yeah, him and Crisp both get killed quickly, and I hated for Crisp. Like, he had this look of heartbreak on his face when he got shot. Like,
he did not want to be in the situation that he was in.
I think Hummel had been someone that he really respected and looked up to, and had like sort of hitched his career to being one of Hummel's men.
Agreed. And, by Crisp, sadly. By Baxter, sadly. And then we see also that in this shootout, Hummel was getting touched up.
Yeah, he got shot pretty good.
And the physical acting with the squibs is really good too. It's like as they're going off, it's like the body movement is really good.
What's a little less good is that when Hummel falls down, you can see he clearly like falls onto a stunt mat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll have to,
I didn't see that.
I'll cue it back up. I never noticed it, but he falls on a big blue stunt mat. And it's like,
that's shitty. Okay, maybe it was in there for yoga purposes for Alcatraz.
Absolutely.
Anyway, we see then that like Mason starts shooting. He and Goodspeed sort of enter. And it's he's like, I'll cover you so that Stanley can go in and grab Hummel and pull him out. Mason's laying down suppressing fire. And then it's at that moment, like, you hear Hummel's like, what have I done?
He's full of remorse.
Like, fuck's sake, man.
This was like the most likely scenario.
An hour and 40 minutes in. Yeah, no shit. With his dying breath, Hummel tells Goodspeed the last rocket's in the lower lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Goodspeed runs off to the lower lighthouse while Mason holds the bad guys at bay.
That's right.
This whole bit is fast and furious. Darrow goes after Goodspeed while Fry battles Mason in the little headquarters there.
Sure.
We see Fry roll a couple of grenades into the bathroom. His giggles after those grenades go off. Yeah, Fry is crazy, man.
I will give Fry credit. That was some precision grenade tossing. He got them to like roll to curl into the bathroom door.
He's crazy. Like and his laugh when they go off, he's like, it's nuts.
Yes.
We see Mason dive into a cast iron tub to avoid the blast, like a big light fixture falls on him. He avoids that. Then meanwhile, out at the lighthouse, Goodspeed works frantically to defuse the rocket. We see Darrow arrive. He's like taunting him while Mason gets the VX gas out of the canister. Darrow sort of stalks with the gun and knife, taunting him before. Oh man, it's so great before.
Goodspeed is like holding the VX balls are like exposed.
Oh, it's crazy.
He's like, "Do you know how this shit works?
Do you know how this shit works with the knife?"
That's the first time Goodspeed swore.
That's right. He's broken his maiden voyage on cursing.
The Rocket Man bit is a little cheesy.
I think we got started. I always hated this, but now watching it in retrospect and like loving Nick Cage as much as I do, I get it. He's like, I think we got started off on the wrong foot. Stan Goodspeed, FBI. Let's talk music. Do you like Elton John? Do you like the Elton John song Rocket Man?
Darrow says, I don't like soft ass shit. I love that line. I feel like Darrow, to me, is the one who salvages this scene.
Oh, yeah.
As much as he can, because
I don't like
when he's
soft ass shit.
That, like, do you know how this shit works? Like, waving the knife around. I was like, he's making this scene work.
He is unhinged.
Yes.
Completely unhinged. And then
I don't like soft ass shit.
And Nick Cage says, I only bring it up because it's you. You are the Rocket Man. And then hits the ignite button, and off he goes into the wild. It's a cool shot of the body flying through the air with the rocket headed out to sea before the body gets impaled on whatever the fuck that pole is.
Yeah, how would that? What would really happen if you were standing in front of a rocket that got pressed to launch? Because it's not going immediately 100 miles an hour.
I think that the physics...
Would it happen kind of like in the movie?
I think the physics probably works in that it hits you, and before it hits like whatever propulsion level is, that you might drop off before it hits that next gear.
Before it really takes off?
Yeah.
Like going
supersonic, whatever it is, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not a physicist. I get my degree next week. If you know what would happen,
please let us know, because I'm curious as hell.
Well, we want to know what would happen in that situation if a rocket hit a 230 or 40 pound man.
Would it lift him up off the ground and carry him a little bit of ways and then he'd drop off?
Yeah. Put this shit on Reddit. We'll get an answer 10 minutes.
We'll have a million experts telling us exactly what would happen.
Anyway, the effect is cool looking. We see Goodspeed go to the edge, the roof of the lighthouse.
Why does he go up onto the roof? Not just stay in the main area.
I don't know. Maybe because he thinks that if the rocket's diffused, that's where they'll be easiest to handle. I don't know. I don't even know. So anyway, he starts to defuse the rocket. We see Fry get to where he is. Up on like that upper level, he like takes out an axe and take it to the door.
There's just an axe conveniently left behind, like near the door, like a fire axe.
It's like mounted, like where you.
He
like
just takes off the wall and starts hacking at that locked door.
Yeah, okay. One of the balls of VX drops. Goodspeed's able to just catch it before it rolls off the roof.
That was a very memorable trailer shot.
Yeah,
you remember that?
Like running for it. Yeah. So. It's at that moment that Fry arrives, starts shooting up through the roof blindly.
Another dangerous thing to do if there's VX gas in the mix.
That's what I'm saying is like, what is $1 million worth to you at this point?
Your life?
But also, you're not going to get paid because the guy that's going to pay you is dead.
The money's already off the table.
Yeah, what are you, like, wouldn't that guy be trying to get off the island?
Maybe I wonder if who's able to fly the helicopters. The bad guys have helicopters on the island. We never see them, but they're there, I guess.
He has to know. Everyone on that team.
One of them is a pilot, unless the pilot's been killed off already.
So it's at this point that we see, I'd take pleasure in gutting you, boy. Bad guy starts shooting with a heavy machine gun from another rooftop.
I love his chatter. He's like, I'm going to get you now,
I'm going to get you, baby. I got you now, baby. So Goodspeed tucks the VX ball under a grate. No, the whole little stream under a grate at the lighthouse.
Yeah.
He then removes the guidance chip from the rocket. Then we see, I'm going to gutting you, boy. Guy running out of bullets, picks up a sniper rifle instead.
He's got all the tools.
Mason jumps him, flips him off the roof.
Yes.
Goodspeed jumps down off the lighthouse, evading Fry. There's so much jumping with that little pellet of VX gas. Like, I don't need, like, that shit touched a wall earlier and everyone died.
Yeah.
I don't even know how this is possible.
Cage said on the commentary that he was sort of annoyed by all the diving around after making such a big deal about how delicate the VX balls are, but he's like, but you know, what are you going to do? Well, I get that his life's on the line from these bullets too, you know, like he's got to at least try to jump and just hope it doesn't break.
I'm into that.
But it is a miracle.
Much like me and
ball
you.
Didn't break.
Yeah, we're all thinking that. So we then see Air Force jets approach 7 minutes from target.
Which, of course, are naval Blue Angels footage.
Right, right.
But whatever.
Right.
It is what it is.
So the next shot we see is Hi Sweetie, bad guy, jump out from nowhere.
Who randomly steps out and wants to fist fight Mason.
It's like, where has he been this whole time? He's like, okay. But Mason gets a chain wrapped around the dude's neck and pushes the slack down a hole.
Yeah.
Which, like,
chokes
hangs
him or
the guy.
strangles
Like,
him or whatever.
Yeah, strangles the guy out.
This bit always felt just out of place to me, didn't it? To you?
All of the end of this,
maybe
at
it should
this
have happened
point,
before
Yeah.
he got to the sniper guy on the roof, because it's like this guy's completely anonymous.
This bit
Then he's
and
talking that
the
shit
guy
about like
and the guy with sniper rifle guy is like,
the bit about him talking about you English prick. Did I ever tell you my old man was Irish?
But he's Scottish.
He's Scottish. It's like now it's personal or something. Plus, as you mentioned before, he's never heard.
You never
Mason
heard him talk.
He doesn't know what
Not
nationality
one
he
time.
is.
Not one time. It hasn't been circulated. If you hear a Scottish man talk, you kill that bastard. It's never been said. So anyway,
Scottish is not in English anyway. It's all weird and not that good. But whatever. There's no stakes on that fight. It's not like there's any chance Connery's about to die.
At all. So Mason chokes this dude out, grabs a walkie-talkie, and
guy
presses
dropped
on
a radio or something.
Yeah. We then see Goodspeed continuing on the run from Fry in hot pursuit.
Yeah.
Fry finally gets Goodspeed trapped with his gun.
I can't figure out where it is even that Goodspeed's running to.
I don't either. Like, he's just like
He's just running away, I guess.
Yeah, like wherever. So he takes the little ball of VX gas, pockets it,
sticks it in his breast pocket,
and then he's like tucked behind a counter and tosses the chip out into the open.
Yes.
So that when Fry walks into the room, he bends to pick it up, and at that point, like Goodspeed's like, I'm gonna attack.
Which begs the question: why did he put the ball in his pocket instead of literally anywhere else?
I don't know, dude.
He's like, let me tuck this in my pocket and then go and fight a guy.
Why wouldn't he throw it at him and run?
Or put it someplace where it's not going to get ruptured and then try to fight the guy.
Why wouldn't he throw it at him and run? Hit him with it.
He would have been within range. I guess he would have had to atropine himself.
Yeah, I'd have been fine with that, too. I'd have been like, throw it at him and then dive out a window.
Yeah. I guess he wanted to have a little bit of fist fighting, but that's not Goodspeed's forte.
It's because the next bit is memorable movie fodder.
It is.
Where Fry jumps on Goodspeed. They start like a hand-to-hand combat deal. Fry's like, I'm going to choke my $1 million out of you, my $1 million bucks out of you. You're going to die.
You're going to die.
It's so good. But then it's also the back and forth camera movement. Like he's getting choked out. And then we see Stanley like reach up with that ball and like stuff it in his mouth
and sort of punch him in the face.
It's badass.
It like ruptured that thing in his mouth, dude. Thank God he had that VX ball, but Jesus.
Yeah, so
he's like, eat that, you fuck.
So Stanley has fully broken
his only rule.
His only like Batman.
I don't know. Yeah, he's fully swearing now, which that line even seemed a little bit more out of place to me than like the do you know how this shit works line.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I'm just like, that just doesn't seem like him, but I'm going to go with it. But man, when he spews that VX like liquid out of his mouth and like it's going to work on him, it's like that shit. Does that make your skin crawl like it does mine?
Yeah, big time.
Like he's spewing it like fucking Triple H into the ring.
Like spewing it up in the air.
Oh man, even just thinking about it gives me that response in my taint.
Now, that vasovagal response.
Yes.
As the gas begins to paralyze both Fry and Goodspeed.
Well,
Goodspeed takes
Fry's
out
in a little worse trouble.
Yeah.
Like, he's got these open sores on him and stuff. It's
terrible.
gruesome.
Yeah, Goodspeed takes out the atropine, and as we've been wondering all along, could you stab yourself in the chest with it?
I don't know that Goodspeed does, because he hits a little low. Didn't we think he's like real low?
It looks sort of low, but I'm wondering if it's just like enough to
Close
do what
enough
it needs
to get
do.
it in the bloodstream.
Because you need to do like up here, right?
I would think it wants to puncture the heart muscle,
Like around your xiphoid process.
like right in your breastplate, or
Oh
just
my
off
God.
center. I don't know,
That's
but
rough, man.
that was a cool syringe too, because it was like he hit a trigger or something, and the needle like shot out of the thing.
Yeah,
Like the needle wasn't out all the time. Very cool syringe.
I don't like it. Anyway, so the airstrike at that moment is a minute out.
That's when we get the very melodramatic line from Paxton on shore.
God help their
May God have mercy on their souls.
Yeah.
Who's he even talking to? About the pilots?
The pilots.
Okay.
And
they're about to kill a bunch of civilians.
And the people who are about to die. And it's at this moment that Goodspeed somehow, with the syringe still sticking out of his chest, remembers that, oh, hey, the green flares were, like, we have to send those up to signal, hey, the mission is complete.
They went back and played like a snippet of dialogue from Michael Bean's Commander Anderson from earlier about, like, green smoke is the signal that mission's complete. Do you think that was needed, the audio, to remind the viewer?
Yeah, far too much has happened at this point to remember what a green flare meant.
I bet you on my first viewing of the movie, I would have forgotten all about green flares.
I think at that moment that I would have been like, oh, okay, oh, he's been set. Wait, what's he doing? Oh,
if you just got him out, would you remember? Like,
maybe.
It's a better payoff, I think, to hear it said. So I'm good with that.
But then we hear Paxton say that God have mercy on our souls. The jets fly under the Golden Gate Bridge.
That shot is fucking amazing.
It's
obviously,
awesome.
I think CGI,
it's so
but
good.
Obviously CGI, but still, it looks fucking awesome. I know jets could do that. Like a good pilot could do that.
Yeah.
It's fucking rad.
Goodspeed's frantically waving the green flares. The jets bear down on Alcatraz.
Dude, Michael Bay said the way he's got the flares out, he's in that kind of Christ pose almost.
Yeah.
Is like a platoon homage, he called it. When
I
Willem
love
Dafoe's
that.
character gets killed off and he's got his arms out like that.
That's heartbreaking.
It's very cool though as well. Like,
man, go watch Platoon if you've never seen
that
Platoon.
Shit's on Netflix, and that's a truly deserving Best Picture winner.
Oh man,
awesome
Platoon
flick.
is so good. Anyway,
you can see Tony Todd / Candyman and John C. McGinley.
Yeah, absolutely. So we see Goodspeed, not in Platoon, frantically waving the green flares, and the jets bear down on Alcatraz. FBI spotters, at the last minute, as they do, see the green smoke, and the order to abort is quickly relayed to the pilots.
Not quick enough.
Unfortunately, the jets peel off, but the lead jet had already dropped his load, if you will. There's a huge explosion. Goodspeed goes flying through the air.
A stuntman, clearly on wires, goes flying through the air.
Not Nick Cage, flying into that icy cold water.
Dude, that shot from directly above, like looking down on the explosion
awesome.
And the thing, it's like all... I think they got a clean visual shot from a helicopter of the island, but then put in a CGI plane and CGI explosion, and it all looks fucking amazing.
It looks awesome.
It's awesome. The details in that shot, like you're seeing exhaust, like heat exhaust from the jet.
Oh, it's badass.
So much cool stuff is happening in that shot that it's like it's awesome.
You're like, I don't even care if it's real or not.
Yeah, fuck
Who
it.
Who cares? Fuck it.
Carla is distraught.
Yeah, everyone at FBI mobile headquarters is like, oh no.
Yeah.
The pilot says the bomb did not hit the main building where the hostages are. Thank goodness. That's a big plot point. It's at that point that we see John Mason dive into the icy cool waters of the bay to fish out Stanley Goodspeed.
Dude, that water would be brisk. And October in the bay.
Fucking real cold. It's at this moment when Mason dives in to retrieve Stanley that we hear the third statement of the Mason Redemption song, which is cool.
He's a hero.
We definitely, it's like that was that was the whole thing. Is like Mason's like, I'm trying to recarve my life here. Then we hear Paxton trying to raise Goodspeed on the radio on all frequencies.
Yeah, it's like just going on all frequencies, and it sort of crackles to life there.
Yeah, Mason hears the radio crackle, tosses to Goodspeed. Goodspeed confirms hostages are all 81 are confirmed alive.
He actually couldn't know that.
Yeah.
But
and then immediately Womack jumps on the radio, says, "Where's Mason?" He's obsessed with Mason.
So Goodspeed, in his like big repaying of the favor to Mason, tells him like, Mason was killed, sir. And then he's like, what? How? He's like, just come and get me.
Yeah, just come get me.
But that's a great moment of humanity from Goodspeed.
Yeah, I love it. I love it too.
I dug it as well.
It's at that point that Goodspeed tells Mason that Womack tore up his pardon early on, like right at the beginning.
Which Mason knew already.
He's like, I figured. Goodspeed tells him the sealed dive equipment should be where they left it, and if you can make it over to the hotel room where I was staying in room 26, that there's a gun and some money, or is it just some money?
He had some cash in the Bible and a change of clothes.
Yeah, some money and some clothes.
We won't pay too much attention on the fact that they're not the same size.
Right. Well, yeah, fine. Who cares? Whatever.
Maybe they're sweats and stuff.
Yeah.
But also, I think the missing seal gear would be noticed.
Right. Yeah.
Like, wait a second, are you sure Mason's dead? Because the seal, like little submersible shit, is gone now. Like maybe it drifted away.
Who knows?
I don't know either. Anyway.
Yeah. So Mason asks him about the etymology of his last name, Goodspeed, which is Godspeed, which is wishing someone a safe journey or a good journey.
Yeah.
And Mason says, have you ever considered Fort Walton, Kansas?
He's like, if you fancy a journey, go check out Fort Walton, Kansas.
And Stanley's like, no, fuck that shit. I'm going to Maui.
I was thinking Maui.
No, you should go to Kansas, and presses in his hand a piece of paper which says, Fort Walton, Kansas, the name of a church. Look under the front
pew's right
like
leg
the right leg hollow of this front pew, and then as Stanley is looking at the piece of paper, looks up and it's like, is this what I think it is? And then Mason's
like already off in the distance, like far away.
It's a very Tango and Cash shot.
It's amazing that he like sort of, but it's mythic.
I love it.
Like he's just gone, disappeared, faded into the mist.
I love it. He's
there
like
is
a
no
Houdini
Fort Walton,
character.
Kansas, by the way. I was like, where is that in Kansas? I was like, I looked it up and there is no Fort Walton, Kansas, but that's cool. Like, whatever.
Yeah, that's badass.
And, it's all good. So the cavalry arrives on Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Paxton is like first to come and find Goodspeed. He asks him what happens to Mason. Goodspeed says he was vaporized, sir. And like Paxton sort of gives a little knowing smile.
I love that smile. He's like, oh, cool.
Vaporized.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool.
And then now Womack comes running up. He wants to see Mason's body. And Paxton says, tells him he was vaporized.
Right.
Womack looks a little bit like incredulous about it, like, what, that can happen? A body can just vaporize? And Goodspeed's like, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'm a chemist. Trust
Absolutely.
me.
Now, we get the movie's like kind of coda.
Yeah.
It cuts to Fort Walton, Kansas. Carla is waiting in the car. It's this classic.
I want that car.
It's a classic Volvo. Like, is that the beige Volvo?
Yeah,
that
it looks
he was
like an old
talking about?
VW Bug.
It was a Volvo. I paused it.
Yeah,
and I was
an
like,
old car.
He talked about I drive a beige Volvo, but that's a cool ass car. That's not like that's corny nerd Volvo.
No, that's like a 1970s or 60s.
Oh, it was sweet. It did have the look of a Beetle, but it was definitely a Volvo. Goodspeed comes running out of the church like holding a pew.
Vandals! Vandals!
He's got the pew leg in his hand, and the preacher's chasing him. Vandals! Vandals! It's so funny. He jumps in the car, which is like got the just married in the back, is dragging cans behind. It's awesome.
Beautiful country.
Yeah, they peel out.
Not Kansas.
Not at all. There's mountains there. So somewhere in California.
We think.
We're sure. Goodspeed is like shaking that roll of film out of the leg of the thing, and he's like looking at it. He asks Carla if she wants to know who really kills JFK as they like ride off into the sunset. And that's pretty fucking mountainous for Kansas. That's all I could think at the end.
Absolutely.
Michael Bay on the commentary talked about his idea for what a sequel to the movie would have been.
No one wants to watch the sequel to this.
We don't need it, but his
No.
idea was that, now that Goodspeed and Carla have the film, like, that the full weight of the government is falling on them, like, trying to catch them, and that Goodspeed and Carla would get separated, and that Goodspeed would have to enlist the help of Mason to, like, help him,
He doesn't know how to, like, he doesn't know how to contact him. Yeah.
It makes no sense at all. Now, apparently they shot footage of, like, Mason and his daughter, Jade, riding off into the sunset as well, or, like, driving through Big Sur in the car or something like that, and they cut it out because they thought it was a better moment for him just to disappear and be gone, rather than you see him again later. But I think they also said that, like, Connery was like, well, why was that cut out? Like, he wanted that moment in the movie, and they're like, no, trust us, this is better, Sean. Like, your character just has disappeared into the ether, and I think they were right. I think not seeing him ever again is, like, the right way to play it. Like, that he just is there one moment and the next moment he's vanished.
I would say one of the two things should have happened if that was the case. That it should have ended with him and Claire Forlani rolling out of the church.
Mason and Claire?
Yeah.
Okay. They went to go get the film?
With the microfilm.
Huh.
Do you want to know who killed JFK? Or the film should have ended with the way the film should have ended anyway, with there was no resolution with Hummel and his crusade for hero soldiers' rights or whatever.
Yeah.
And it should have ended with Nicolas Cage's character finding the goods and saying, I've got the microfilm.
Yeah.
I want reparations
I want
for
justice
the soldiers.
for these soldiers. I like the idea because as it stands, like, there was no justice for the families of all the fallen Recon Marines.
It was Ed Harris's character died.
Well, we have the president during his speech, like, acknowledging that, we fucked these guys over. And in the end, it's like, thank God we got away with it.
Oh, good. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly that. They would have been like, well, we want that information back. And we want Sean Connery's character back. And he would have been like, no.
We want medals for these deceased soldiers and benefits for their families.
And we want a medal for Mason.
John Mason. Shit. How come you can't give him? He's not even a citizen.
That would have been awesome. And we want recognition for Mason as a helper to the United States government.
He's, like, viewed as being dead, though.
That would have been badass, though.
You would have been into it.
That would have been insult to injury.
Is that the wine talking?
No, baby.
No, you're into
that.
it? Okay. Well, sadly, that's not the ending that we got. That's not the ending we got at all.
It's not.
We get, like, the storybook happy ending.
Right.
The super duper happy ending. They drive off into the sunset with the bulldog right in the back.
Which is also kind of cool.
And, then we get roll credits. The film is dedicated to Don Simpson.
R.I.P.
Legendary producer. He died during production of the film.
Very sad.
He was apparently, like, a big-time recreational drug user and heavy drinker.
I did not know that.
I think that was it was like a lethal cocktail of drugs in his system is what killed him, which is a fucking bummer.
Big time.
He died during filming, and they told a story about that the cast and crew were trying to keep his passing a secret from Michael Bay because I guess, like, they thought he would freak out because I think Don Simpson had been like a father figure to him almost, or a very close friend. Like, they talked on the phone every night or whatever.
Providing him drugs.
Nick Cage accidentally, like, spilled the beans. I mean, Cage said that no one told him it was supposed to be a secret from Bay. And on one day on the set, he was, like, saying he was having a hard time focusing on the work, giving a performance, because, he couldn't stop thinking about Don. And he's like, well, what about Don? And he's like, he died. And he's like, what? And
shit.
Cage is like,
holy crap.
I've never been the one to have informed somebody that someone else died.
Oh, my God. That's heavy. Terrible.
Like, especially when you just say it casually because you assume the person knew already or something. And he's like, yeah, that's heavy. But another thing that's awesome, a hard change of subject.
Yeah, bring it.
The premiere of this movie was done on the island, on Alcatraz.
What?
Like,
oh, that's awesome.
They took a big screen out there and generators.
I didn't know that.
On boats, and they had cranes, and they brought all the shit out there, and they did it, like, in the yard. You know, like the
What?
recreation
Oh
yard.
my God! Everyone had to wear
Amazing,
jackets,
right?
Oh, that's awesome.
I think conditions they say on the island were like really fucking rough for filming, as you
Right.
can imagine. It's
Yeah.
like the weather's changing all the time. It's like
Yeah.
it'd be foggy and then sunny and then cloudy, and it's like hard to shoot a scene that's supposed to have continuity when the weather changes every 30 minutes.
Fuck.
I could totally get it. But they also had to get like trailers and vehicles and porta potties and generators and
That's insane.
all this out onto the island. Fucking Bruckheimer said they had 10 miles of electrical cable like running around on the island to power everything that needed powering.
That's insane.
Yeah, he said
Absolutely
I think it was the
insane.
biggest, like he called it like the biggest cable order ever on a film at that time or something like that, which is fucking buck wild. But everyone loved, like, they spoke about how filming on the island, like, was such a help. Like, that, you know, you just can't fake that. Like, the age of the buildings and the crumbling facades and all like that shit. I think Ed Harris had described it like...
And the diamond mines on the inside.
Yeah, totally, man. The fucking mine cars and spending whatever, the bottomless pits and all this shit. No. So, Michael Bay, I think they had fallen a little bit behind on filming. And the producers, you know, the studio people, like, wanted Michael Bay to come in for a meeting.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, they're going to fucking chew me out because I'm behind. And Connery had been like, well, do you want me to come with you?
Oh, shit.
And he's
That's
like,
awesome.
He's like, yeah, sure. And so they showed up, and, like, Connery is basically like, hey, he's doing a great fucking job. Just leave him alone and let him work. And they're like, okay.
Okay.
Connery,
Well,
I think, was like an executive producer on the
yeah, he
film.
was executive
So
producer
I
on the
think-
film.
Yeah, that's
So
fucking
it's
badass.
like, what do you do when he walks in and is like, everything's going fine?
Everything's fine. This guy's good. Just get off his back.
Fuck you, Walt Disney. Bye.
This movie is fucking great, man.
If you have never seen The Rock, I don't even know,
I don't know
how
why you're
you,
listening to
I
this.
don't know how you came across this podcast, but
Drop everything.
go watch it now, and then come back and listen to us. and tell
Abandon
us
your
what you think.
family
Yeah.
and your secret family.
You've already made it past the first of the year. Go like fill your secret weekends with this thing.
It's your secret weekends. Action movies galore. This movie is
so
fucking
good.
killer. So it's a quintessential to the genre. I'm glad we got to it. Rest
Me
in
too,
peace,
brother.
Sean Connery. I love that man. And
I love you, brother.
well, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the wine talking.
No, it's not.
Aw.
Oh, I mean it is. But
It is, yeah. Well, I love you too, and I'm sure we'll be back soon with something else fresh and amazing. We'll be back.